get started, I'll call the meeting to order. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome to the July 5th, 2018 Town of Riverhead Planning Board meeting. Happy day after 4th of July. I don't think back in January we realized that there was going to be so much going on tonight in town, but here we are. We'll try and get through the agenda. The first item on the agenda tonight is NERP Holdings Tractor Supply, Main Road in Calverton. If you guys could come on up, please.
Yeah, John, just grab a chair over there.
Okay.
So, we're here to just, as a continued discussion for the minor subdivision application and the preliminary site plan application for Tractor Supply. I just wanted to bring the board up to speed on all of the secret related, work that we've done on it. The applicant's engineer has submitted a remediation plan for the stockpiles on the rear portion of the property, the remaining 41 acres, which is operated by Sky Materials. That remediation plan has been submitted to the DEC. The remediation plan detailed a 5-year on-site material reduction plan. We have yet to receive any feedback on the DEC, whether they are going to approve that time frame or not. So that's something that we will need to get before we hit final approval. But the plan has been submitted and is being reviewed.
When was it submitted?
I believe it was June 15th or 16th. So that was submitted now in conjunction with the material reduction plan. That will also impact the traffic impact analysis that was done by it. So the traffic impact analysis might just need to be slightly tweaked based on whatever the DEC's recommendation is. Prior to final site plan approval, we will want, answers from both agencies, because it will impact any need for any traffic light or any traffic mitigation at that intersection.
We've been in contact, or you've been in contact.
We have been
with
in
these, and
contact.
they indicated that they were receptive to the plan that was submitted. It's just maybe the time frame that they were looking
Yeah,
at.
and again, nothing has been formalized in writing as terms of whether they're going to be supportive of the 5-year or whether they're gonna push for a, an abbreviated time frame. I think the intent for any agency is that they don't want this to drag on for 10 years, so they do want it to be, taken care of. So that sort of wrapped up the SECRA. The subdivision, we have a subdivision approval resolution off of this meeting. There were some conditions, one of which related to the DEC remediation plan, just stating that if there's any modification requested on that DEC permit, that the DEC coordinates with the town, just so that we can have a hand and an input in it. There were some comments from Mr. Gaudiello, just requiring some revisions to the map. Shouldn't be anything significant that the applicant can't take care of.
Was that shared with them?
Yes, yes, they've seen the resolutions, they've seen all the conditions. And then moving on to the preliminary site plan. As I had detailed in an earlier staff report at an earlier work session, the applicants had revised a lot of the issues that were still outstanding. We've kind of buttoned up a couple of the issues. They were originally proposing a cul-de-sac at the rear end of the Tractor Supply property. I think that cul-de-sac was kind of the remnants of early discussions we were having with them in the need to provide fire apparatus turnaround. In discussions with Bowler Engineering and the fire marshal, it's actually been determined that that turnaround can be taken out, being that the site has about 30-foot clearance throughout it, which will allow for fire apparatus turnaround. That turnaround is really only needed in a dead-end situation. I had also spoken with Mr. Diodabo about a phased development plan. I just wanted to get the board's opinion of it. Right now, the site plan application is proposing a 4-building campus-style development. It's my understanding that right now, Tractor Supply is the only tenant that they've got secured. I don't think it's the board's intention to have him build 3 buildings that will sit there vacant, unoccupied. So So, the applicant needs to come prior to final approval, they need to come up with a phased development plan to determine the best way to develop the site. You know, that's something that we could possibly discuss at a work session, once they kinda come up with something formal and submit it. But that is gonna be one of the conditions of preliminary site plan approval. Again, there was, you know, substantive DOT comments that they need to comply with, that I understand they are working with the DOT and trying to get those resolved. There was some engineering comments from Mr. Gaudiello, again, which I've shared with the applicants. Nothing really significant that can't be just, you know, tweaked out. And that's pretty much where we are, which brings us to, we've got the secret neg deck, lead agency, we've got preliminary subdivision approval, and preliminary site plan approval on for this meeting.
Okay, just for the record, the groundwater sampling that we required came back all within acceptable limits.
Correct. I can give you specifics of it if you'd like to know, but I did detail all of the, myself and Mr. Seaman, we did detail all of the groundwater findings, you know, any information that we asked for has been detailed and is, you know, contained within the resolutions.
Okay?
Is Sky Materials still in operation on that particular site?
Yes.
And how do you feel that the impact will be as you're trying to clean up with Sky Materials still operating on the site? I mean, are these piles, are they, no,
Different location.
different location?
Yeah, well, it's the same parcel, but it's the back 42 acres where Sky is operating.
Okay, so they.
Doesn't impact the,
So basically you moved on and the piles were just left there for whatever reason, and then now as we clean it up, it doesn't impact the operation of Sky Materials, that's really my question.
there's no piles where Tractor Supply is gonna go.
Okay,
There never was.
okay.
But your operations on the back parcel, once it's split, will continue, but they just won't interfere with the operations of the proposed subdivision.
Correct, totally separate operation.
And there were some, issues with the common access road, which were addressed in Mr. Gaudiello's comments, being that 55-foot wide flagpole portion, you know, of the rear property is gonna serve as access to and from the Sky Materials site. There were some road design elements that were recommended, just to ensure that access road doesn't get, you know, destroyed by these trucks coming in and out of the site, so, you know, I think the engineers can come up with some measure to ensure that road maintains its integrity.
I'm sure you have to maintain it to some degree now, right?
Yeah, but I think Vinnie wanted thicker, wider, whatever he
Yeah, he
wants
did.
is fine.
To the industrial standard.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions from the board? All right, we'll vote on the resolutions, you know, when they come up on the agenda, you know, a little bit later. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Bricksmore Retail Shops at Riverhead.
Otherwise I just bring it up, sure.
No, on which?
Yeah. You got all the children on that side.
Please.
There you go. There you go. Thank you. There you go. You got plenty of chairs.
All right, you don't get to see me up here very often. This is continuation of Brooksmore. The shopping center has been approved and is under construction, and the applicant has proposed a relatively simple modification to the application. The proposed building E, which is the frontmost building, closest to County Road 58, was approved as a single 12,000 square foot retail building. Given the market, and I'm gonna have the applicant speak to that, they're proposing to take that 12,000 square foot single building and split it into two smaller buildings. One would be 7,000 square feet, and the other would be 5,000 square feet. The footprint of the overall portion of that development is unchanged, with that exception of moving the two buildings apart. The ARB has approved the architectural design. I think the landscaping has actually been improved, and much better design than previously, so kudos to Carlos over at the HB for his effort on that. As a result of this, during the course of the construction, and you get to see the site in operation in terms of customers coming to the site to Costco and to the new retail center, there's been some issues coming up that this portion of this amended application warrants us to investigate those. And it has to do with traffic. The first is when traffic is exiting the site, there are 3 lanes exiting the site. There's a dedicated left-hand turn lane heading eastbound, there's a dedicated right-hand turn heading westbound, and then there's this kind of no man's land, middle lane, that we tried to address last time with an arrow saying that it's supposed to be for straight only. The problem is it's painted, and people are not seeing it as they drive over it and the cars back up. You can't see it. So the people in the middle lane are either gonna go straight across the Route 58 into the Dick's Sporting Goods Shopping Center, and some of them are going left. But there's no indication in the traffic signal or in the signage that you can see around you as you're sitting in the car as to what lane you are permitted, which direction you're permitted to go, either straight or left-handed. It's not a dedicated lane for left only, it's not a dedicated lane right only, unless you look at the arrows painted on the road. So I brought that to the attention of Courtney and to Chris Kent. And then the other issue has to do with, as you're entering the site, you come into basically a 4-way intersection. This is by retail building C, the HomeSense retail building, past Alta to your right. People are either gonna make a left and head towards Costco, they're gonna head straight towards the larger building with the Home Marshalls and the PetSmart. People are confused at that point. Again, it's a signage issue, it's a striping issue, it's, gee, where do I wanna go issue with the drivers in the car. If they know that they wanna go to where the HomeSense Marshalls PetSmart store is, which is the big building on your right as you're at that intersection, you're gonna go straight through the intersection and all the parking is on your left. So as soon as they see the parking on their left, they're looking to their left to find a vacant parking space. And the problem is, as they're looking to the left, the people are coming out of the store from their right, and the people who are driving the car are not necessarily cognizant of the pedestrians coming in from the right, and who has the right of way. So Courtney has been working with the traffic division at VHB. They've been looking at different alternatives, and so I'm gonna have them talk about those 2 issues tonight.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. So we've, on the side for the county, we have been in coordination with the county on the signal itself. And what we've done is we've taken some counts on the weekends to have a better understanding of what's actually happening and why it's backing up and how this is happening. So the county right now is reviewing, the traffic signal counts and the modeling that we've done.
How do they do the counts?
How do we do the counts? We have a person sit there on the
Okay.
weekends,
Say if they
and
put
literally
those-
count the cars.
If they put the wires out, how could they tell which way they were turning in?
Yeah, no, you'd have to
No,
count,
'cause
you have
that's
to
a real
physically
issue.
count,
No,
who's
actually,
turning left,
someone
who's
sits
going
out
straight.
there with a
Yeah.
clipboard and
Okay.
counts lefts, rights, straights. So we did that for 3 weekends in a row, and we have given this model, we modeled it, and we've given it to the county to take a look at. So preliminarily, we are looking at potentially making that a, 2 left turn lanes instead of the straight. And that the right would become a straight and a right. So that's what we've proposed them, and they're reviewing it. So on the plans that you'll see today is to address the concerns of the signage, coming into there. We have added signage that would come back further, that would tell you which lane is which.
Overhead?
Not overhead, signage at this, if you look at the plans, it would be left, straight, right, whatever they were, but coming further back in. So on either side, as you were pulling into that main exit, you would know, okay, these are what these lanes are for. What we've proposed to Jeff is, that we hold off on installing this signage until, the communications with the county are over, and we've confirmed, what they're gonna allow us to do. Because if we did have to do 2 lefts, we would have to change obviously some of the signal and the timings. But the idea of the signage would be going all the way through.
Then the right lane would be straight or right, is that correct?
We also noticed that in the surveying that was being done, that the count on the light used to be 110 seconds. exiting out of the shopping center onto 58, and now it's been cut down by the county to 80 seconds. They're more concerned about the movement of traffic on Route 58 than people entering onto 58. So that's another thing we're discussing with the county, whether they will give us some more time to let cars get out of the shopping plaza onto 58.
So that would deal with, that would have, the consequence of that is the amount of queuing or capacity of your turning lanes exiting the site.
Correct.
Yeah, essentially what they approved, they kind of went back on and cut,
So they've cut 30 seconds off of the time.
which, as you know, is a lot.
Is a lot. We'll try to get some of that back. I don't know if there was some decision made. We're in contact with the Highway Division of DPW, to see if there's some rationale for that. Traffic, people from VHB, traffic consultants from VHB are meeting with them to discuss it.
I think initially you had two left-hand turn lanes because the arrow still is now they painted over it, but it's thought, the real one
So the
with the left and straight.
The original
See.
traffic, when we did this site, was two lefts, and the traffic study showed two lefts. When we built Sabre across the street, the county had changed their mind and made us change the entire traffic signal design for them as well, and they thought that would work better.
This plan that you have is, I think, the answer personally. You know, we shop in there quite a bit, and I can tell you that left lane now is really starting to back up as those stores fill up.
Yep.
That left turn lane, you're there 2 lights, 3 lights in order to get through.
Right.
So there are a lot of people that do that same thing. However, the conflicting problem is the right-hand turn on your other, on the intersecting.
The good thing about there is more rights than going straight. So that would propose the fact that people can make that right, you know, it's an unsignalized right. And then yes, if there was someone that wanted to get straight, it would back up a little, but you also still have that same queue. But there's not as many people going straight as there are rights and lefts.
I've talked to neighbors about it, and they said, well, we're invading Hollow behind it. And sometimes what we'll do is the traffic is so heavy making that left, and then the traffic on 58, you make the right and go the back way.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yeah.
But I think this one will solve the problem, this layout will solve the problem.
And that's what we have into the county, we've given them all of our models, we've done all the counts, and that's what we're trying to propose and work with them, and they're trying to work with us, and again, like I said, they did take 30 seconds away from us as well.
So the traffic coming into the site, once you're on the property, isn't there temporary construction fence up there? I thought that doesn't change the flow pattern in there temporarily?
We had that initially, when this shopping center was under construction, we did have a gate that closed that, that's no longer there now. And what we are proposing at the kind of the 4-way intersection, is we did put some more stop signs in, you'll see they're already in, we did put some stop bars, but we're also proposing a sign, almost like a directional sign at that corner, so it would say Costco go left, so now that person's not trying to think about where they need to go. I also think we just opened not too long ago, and for the first couple months, it takes people getting used to. We did have that entire thing blocked off. You know, people had to kind of make their new traffic pattern. So right now, what we're seeing is, you know, people are starting to get used to it, but we could certainly use some more signage to help.
And then Courtney, you're proposing some, striping of signage for the pedestrian crossings in front of the stores where you're not inverting C
Correct.
and B and A.
So currently, right now, we have, one crosswalk at Retail B, which was the Marshall's Home Good. We're adding 2 more in front of A and C, which is PetSmart and soon to be HomeSense. And with this, we're also adding pedestrian safety signs, so that the yellow signs that would say that there's a crossing. We're also adding back further the fact that there are crossings coming up to help people slow down.
We talked about speed bumps, and I would have to agree with what Courtney and VHB has said about their concerns regarding it. I'm not sure if speed bumps would provide any additional level of safety. I'm gonna leave that up to the traffic experts.
What's the situation on the car charges?
They're installed.
They're installed, they're just not operational yet, they're just finishing up. There are 2.
We have a lot of Teslas on the South Fork
The
that
answer back, the
really
answer
are
was
hungry
5
for
when we
electricity.
discussed it.
Yeah, where did you end up putting them?
They're over here.
Yeah, okay. there were 5 on the original plan?
They were installed when I did my inspection. I did not test whether or not they were operational. I don't want to test
Originally,
also.
supposed to be built by E, I think.
There was originally 5, and I believe before final site plan approval, it went down to 2. It was 5 at one point, which is what I think you're remembering.
I think they have to loan me a Tesla so I could, see if the charging stations are actually operational.
Does this board agree with 2?
I would have to go back to the resolution, but I believe.
We don't have any standards in our code as to, 1, requiring them, or 2, the number of charging stations per.
Doesn't matter. The question was asked and the answer came back 5. That months ago.
We'll look into it, and
Okay.
we'll look into it, but
No,
the
I do-
final approval was for 2.
No, I don't remember that goes back a ways, Dick, and I don't remember how many off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look at the
I'll look
approval.
at it, okay. I'll see if it was in the preliminary and it was changed at final, or whether it was changed at preliminary, I don't recall, but I will go back and look.
So the resolution we have tonight, if you haven't heard back from the county yet on their comments, approving how it's gonna be configured, how could we do this resolution without their comments?
How long do you think it's gonna take for you to hear back from the county and?
County, I mean,
I mean, it sounds good, and I'm fine with it, but, you know, we're gonna vote on a resolution, and we don't know what the county's gonna say yet.
well, what I would say to that is that, you know, the resolution is essentially to split a building that's 12,000 and going into 2 buildings that still equal 12,000. We're essentially taking one building, or building a plaza in between and adding landscape and trying to just, you know, serve, these tenants. This is a concern for Brixmor too, because the last thing they want is for people to come to their site and not be havoc to have to go around. So, what I would say is that the resolution on the board is to do this, and that, you know, we're gonna continue to work with it.
If I could, offer, a suggestion is that prior to issuance of certificate of occupancy for the building, we should get that resolved with the county. It's really the county issue.
Okay.
That's
That's fine, as long
satisfactory to
as-
the board.
That's
How
fine.
close is it to completion?
The building?
The building,
We haven't even started.
We haven't started, we need to,
Oh, okay, here we go.
the area is
it's on the approval
cleared,
this evening.
but that's about it.
Okay.
We haven't even put in a building application yet because, the current
then
approval
it's
is one building and we're
moot
looking to
point.
separate it.
So if that's okay, we'll amend the resolution to reflect that.
So you're gonna make that a condition of certificate of occupancy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Dick, we'll go back, really won't pertain to this, but, when I go back out, I'll check the number of charging stations that were approved and what's out there, and then,
There's 2 out there.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but if, you know, in all fairness to the applicant, you know, if it was approved at a meeting already,
That's what I'm gonna go back and check.
to go back to, you know, from 5 to 2, I don't know if it would be fair to go back again now.
No, we
Let's
just
look
go
at the
back and
history,
check.
I'm not saying that it shouldn't be, but let's know what occurred before we put
Let's see
that
what's
in.
on the approved plan.
Yeah. But the approved plan to the resolution has 5, we'll install 5.
Right, well,
Yep,
Where we have to.
maybe it was in the minutes or
Come back.
discussion at one of the meetings,
it's a lot of news.
let's
Yeah,
understand
we'll
what
go
happened.
back, I'll go back and take a look.
Do we know whether they're in use all the time, the stations? Yeah, they're in use all the time across the street.
Yeah.
Tanger,
Tanger has another.
you know, two doesn't make it, five would be absolutely.
They're the coming thing.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No? Okay, next item on the agenda is a public hearing for Hilton Garden Inn, for a signalized intersection. Public hearings we do at the podium, but we just need the affidavit of posting, is that everything? We do it
Make
up
the
at the
presentation
podium,
from the podium
please.
tonight, for public hearings.
just state your name for the record and what you're seeking to do, please?
Lee Browning Senior. Intersection at the west end of the property of the Hilton Garden Inn.
Can you explain, I mean, it's a public hearing, we have to assume that the public doesn't really know why this came about and the reasonings behind it and exactly what's gonna happen there.
This started about 2 years ago. It was, probably what spurred it was the accident that was, the limo accident that was east of us. I know nothing about that other than what I read in the paper, but I saw the potential for the same thing happening here. We now have 2 hotels open with 245 rooms, and we have majority are out-of-towners that aren't familiar with how to get here. It's probably the roughest thing that you can explain to a guest, how when they leave the property to go east, they can't go east, they have to go all the way down, make the turnaround. Most of them make an illegal turn. And when you, right now, if you go on our website, we direct you to get off at exit 73. With this intersection, we'll then change all of our third-party bookings to the exit 72, and we will be able to enter from the west end of the property instead of on the east end of the property as we do now. Right now, when you get off the expressway, as everybody knows, you get detoured through Tanger Outlet, and you go up to their light, and you turn around and you come back east. Out-of-towners they just don't get that. It is our #1 complaint and potential problem in the future with accidents.
So if you get off the expressway at 73, you're still gonna be,
At 73, as everybody knows, as soon as you pass that guardrail, you make an illegal U-turn. And it's, between that and the Safeway gas station, it's a recipe for disaster.
Or they can make a U-turn at the Tanger Light.
I've been out here 10 years. I don't think I've seen 10 people do that. It's an illegal turn. Some people will go up and make the U-turn. I have a truck. I go up in front of the town yard or the state yard, which gives me a little bit more room to make the U. It's something that we tried to correct 10 or 12 years ago when we came here. Our first application was to have two entrances and 2 exits, exactly what we're proposing right now.
That first left also, that goes you into Walmart, the first light you come across.
I might add also, if you want to really chance your life, Sunday evening, stand in front of our property and see what the traffic is. It's horrendous and it's fast.
We have a person.
People who are heading west and have spent the weekend out east, they see that expressway sign and then they fly. This will help to slow them down.
well, I can tell you firsthand that it's not only Sunday evening, it could be early Sunday morning too, because about a month ago, I was involved in a very bad accident just west of that site due to an illegal turnaround, so I understand exactly what you're saying.
Okay. Enough said.
Any other questions from the board? Anyone from the public have any questions or comments on this new entrance for the Hilton Garden Inn and signalized intersection? Anyone from the public?
I just have a question of, did we resolve the question, I believe that came up earlier, with regard to coming east, making the left where the light's going to be, that there's going to be an actual left turn lane?
Coming east, not off the expressway?
No, that's not up 25.
They actually,
Off 25.
they actually did the layout.
Steve Eisenberg from Clean Associates. What was your question?
When we first had our initial discussions about it, it wasn't clear whether there was going to be a separate left turn lane if you're coming from, on 25, onto 58, and you wanna make a left onto the property where the light is.
There is going to be a dedicated left turn lane.
Okay. Initially, when we looked at the plans, it was, wasn't,
Oh, yeah,
we
no,
weren't too
there's
sure.
definitely gonna be a dedicated left turn lane.
Okay, so you're gonna have to make it wider at that point.
It's actually where the guide rail is existing, that
Mhm.
section of the rail is coming out, so there's enough
Right.
distance where you can actually put a left turn lane in.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, any other questions from the public? Okay, close the public hearing, someone?
Move the public hearing be closed.
Okay, motion made and seconded to close the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Public hearing is closed. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing for Jamesport Vineyard, Bistro. Do we have the, everything was posted properly? Okay.
Good evening, Ron Gerler, Jamesport Vineyards. Looking to legalize a bistro, outdoor bistro that we have, also a patio area and a trellis area on the property that was put in several years ago, as well as put in some extra parking on the property and some additional walkways on the side of the building, and close in the entire bistro area.
Okay, is there any changes to the parking proposed?
Other than the expansion of the current parking, yes, there would be an additional bunch of stalls that would be put in, gravel parking area.
And when you say legalize, what do you actually, the pizza ovens there, is that what you don't have approval for?
Yes.
Did we, this is on Main Road in Jamesport, right? Did we have anything from the state on this that was required?
They had no further comments.
No comments,
Yes.
that's right. Any questions from the board?
No.
No. Anyone from the public have any questions or comments on this application? Okay,
I move we close the public hearing.
Second?
okay, motion made and seconded to close the public hearing for Jamesport Vineyard Bistro. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Public hearing is closed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are there any comments from the public on the resolutions before we vote on them? Anyone from the public? Okay. Somebody wanna take the first one?
Resolution 18055, NERC Holdings Tractor Supply classifies actions as unlisted actions pursuant to SEQA, assumes lead agency status.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve Resolution 55, NERP Holdings, Secra, unlisted action. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. Number 2 on the agenda.
I'll move resolution 56 for NERP Holdings Tractor Supply, the subdivision. So moved.
Second?
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve Resolution 56, NERP Holdings Tractor Supply for the subdivision. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is approved.
I'll
Number
move resolution number 18057, which is NERC Tractor Holding Supply Preliminary Site Plan.
A second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve Resolution 57, NERP Holdings for preliminary site plan approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved.
I'll move resolution 58 for Brixmore Retail Shops to approve an amended adopted site plan. So moved.
As amended.
As amended, sorry.
We have a second? Okay, I will second it. Motion made and seconded to approve resolution 58 for Brixmore Retail Shops, to approve an amended site plan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
I'm opposed.
Opposed?
I don't,
And
I
one
feel like the
abstention?
traffic issue has to be cleared up
Yes.
before we let them move on.
Okay, so. That fails? Okay, so we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting. Okay.
That's fine with me.
Table it.
Table's fine.
Table it.
Okay, so,
What's the result of
well,
table?
it's not a pass, so we're gonna table it until we have a full board at the next meeting. So I'll make a motion to table this until our next meeting.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to table resolution 58 until the next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so we're gonna table 58. Number 5 on the agenda.
Real Life Church, resolution 59, resolution schedule a public hearing on site plan application seeking approval for the expansion of the existing church.
I'll second.
No.
There he is.
Yeah, it was a different one. So we have a motion made and seconded to approve resolution 59 for Real Life Church to schedule a public hearing.
This is the one at Dogwood Drive and Wading River.
Right. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is approved. Okay, any comments from the public on any other matter?
I'll
Okay,
move the
Minutes.
I'll move the meetings of June 21st, 2018.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of June 21st. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, the next meeting will be July 19th at 3 PM. Motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, enjoy the fireworks. Thank you.